Well, I've known about the Art House for quite a while because the City of Hailey has an Arts and Historic Preservation Commission, and the whole purpose of that volunteer group is to protect the old buildings in Hailey. And so we have a survey of all the buildings, and this is one of the most important. It's one of the oldest houses in Hailey and has a deep history of the 3 families that have lived there since it was built. We have really struggled with the City of Hailey to preserve buildings. We've lost quite a few over the last decade. It's a time of change in this valley and for a lot of small towns. So to have a house where the owners really want to make the effort to relocate it, we are absolutely thrilled. And we're doing everything we can to support retaining this piece of our history in a new location.
I'm Joan Davies, and I am a neighbor that lives a half a block from this beautiful home that has been a part of my life for the last 60 years. This is like a friend, and to see this happen, but to have it going to the project that it is, I'm extremely excited for. I love preservation. I know there are things that we cannot preserve always, but to see a wonderful, beautiful family fall in love with the home that they are, and then willing to go to this extremes to make it happen, and it just seems like this is just going to be a beautiful story for them.
I'm Rebecca Cox, and this is my husband, Charles. So I am a massive history lover, and actually history nerd 100%. A little bit. I'm willing to say it. And I think when Charles first saw the house, that's why he came home immediately and said, "There's a house, and I know you're going to love it." And so typically, I am drawn to kind of the nostalgia and old things and just the history. And out in the Western states, we don't have a lot of rich history, like Europe or the East Coast. And so I think it's even more important why I got involved with the museum here is just that our history it only goes back a very short ways. And so it's able to be preserved and it's attainable to really find all the roots. So the house was built in Old Hailey in 1898, and it sat in the middle of the historic district. And we really wanted it to go somewhere that was still the proximity of where it was originally built.
So we tried to keep it close to that area, but there was nothing available.
Yeah, so for a while we didn't know where we were going to take the house because it had to be within a radius. And then when we looked at the Old Cutters neighborhood, like 0.8 miles away is a location that we found that would work.
So the house movers told us a brick had to be removed, and that was amazing by itself.
I actually did not like the house because of all the manual labor that was involved in an old house, but my wife fell in love with it, so I fell in love with it because I love my wife.
So the whole house was brick to the second story, and it was a massive amount of bricks that we didn't even realize how many was there. And it was amazing. It was like everybody came to help, and we got it done in one day.
And we're going to be reusing the brick, actually. Yeah. We're going to try to incorporate it in the new property in various ways, kind of just keeping a consistent history of the house.
We really appreciate you all so much.
Yes.
We love you.
Yeah, we love you.
We'll have a big housewarming party when she settles, and you won't have to work at that one.
The house mover has been very helpful. They come in with these steel beams underneath the house, and they'll lift it up. They call it cribbing it, and they'll actually lift it about 4 feet in the air, and then it goes on a hydraulic trailer, and it moves down the road.
So the best part about moving a house, you don't have to remove anything out of the house.
I was shocked by that. I didn't believe it.
It was amazing. There's no packing. Everything stayed up other than some of the china got taken down out of your china cabinet. And then we have a mantle that's real heavy. So those were the actual only 2 items that we took down. A few items.
Yeah, I think you made the joke that you'd rather move the house than move the piano out again.
I would. That was the joke. It's like her piano is so heavy.
There was a lot of communication between the utility lines and the house mover to come up with the right route that is easiest to navigate. The house started moving at 8 a.m. and it arrived to the new location around 1 p.m.
I was surprised how many people actually came out to watch. It's a weird thing that wasn't advertised, but I guess I would probably stop and watch too if I saw a massive house driving down the road. It is an amazing thing. It was pretty cool.
There was a lot of excitement that day, a lot of support. It definitely did feel like a parade, and just a lot of people just coming out and being excited about what was happening and being able to talk to people. It was very thrilling, actually.
Yeah, it was.
It's been good to kind of remember the heart and soul of the project is that we're living in an old house that has many chapters of its history, and we're giving it a new chapter. And for me, that's very fulfilling, and it just seems like something that's also honoring to the pioneers who built the house in such good quality, and just being able to say, like, this house deserves to keep going. The first thing that struck me when the house got on location, and it was lifted up about 6 feet in the air, still on its beams, and we crawled up in the house to see if there was any damage. And as I'm going up to the bedroom and I look out the window, it was so odd to look at a familiar window and see a new scenery. And where we are is beautiful, so every window has a gorgeous view.
It was hard for me not to rip out some of the nails. I got 2 of them, and they're the old blacksmith nails that are 4-sided with the hammered head. So they're square nails. So 2 of them were sticking out of a beam underneath the house. So it was like I gently took some pliers and pulled them out. But I've got 2 that we're gonna try to do something special with. I don't know if I'm gonna frame them or
Earrings.
make you some earrings. It might be a little big for that.
The man who built the house was actually an engineer for the mine. So we thought maybe we'd find some fun things under the house, and we were all very hopeful.
Buried treasure.
Yeah. So we didn't find the pot of gold, but we did find an old beer can. It was very exciting.
It was in pristine condition too. It was really cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna do something with that too.
Earrings. And then it's the fun part of redoing the exterior, which for us was very exciting, taking off the old siding and seeing what was underneath and trying to imagine why things were pieced different ways, doors and windows that were walled in, and then of course us taking new cuts to new windows and all that. That's been really fun. And then just having the clean siding put on the top to where hardly anybody would even know the stories underneath the siding, I think is pretty neat. But
yeah, it is neat. We took lots of pictures because it's amazing. In the original siding, it was like you can see the old windows. So the journals Rebecca got from the original Bailey house, it's amazing. So it was like once the brick was taken off, you can see where the actual house, the original windows were. It's really cool.
And you get used to the old patina and then all these new materials going on. You're like, oh, I guess the secrets are still safe though. We felt like a continuation and almost like a kindredness with the people who've worked on the house in the past, because when we took off the brick, we saw that they were resourceful. They used other materials, probably from other structures, to kind of fill in the gaps of what they were doing on the house. And then now we find ourselves doing the exact same thing. And it just feels good to know, you can be resourceful and you can build something with your own hands and be proud of it.
I think if you love the house, it's worth it. It's like it is a labor of love. So it's like if you're not in love with the house, it's not worth it.
And I would definitely encourage people to do it. There's something about surrounding yourself with walls that have so much history. Just saving a historic home is more than just the structure itself. It's just that you're really retaining that piece of history, and that feels incredibly rewarding, for sure.